There are a lot of things that happen online that are, a little less than stellar. But at the end of the day, I like to believe that there are still some things that people generally can agree with. Like, most people don't want to be stung by a bee. Most people don't want to get stabbed with a fork. And most people wouldn't like a video of a person who full out admits to having cheated on his girlfriends with minors. Just basic normal stuff that I feel like everyone should be able to agree with. Like, I genuinely want to believe that when YouTubers get exposed for serious things, such as having deep, personal, inappropriate relationships with underage fans going on for years at a time, talking to them in a way that can be classified as romantic before their minds are fully developed, I want to believe that anytime that happens, people would respond like how they have responded to Onision being caught doing just that. I want to believe that most people see that behavior and just say, no thank you, that is disturbing and gross, and I will not stand for it. But you know what? I was wrong. Because on June 20th, 2020, a YouTuber by the name of Cryaotic uploaded a video entitled, "We Stopped Being Genuine a Long Time Ago," where he full out admits to inappropriate relationships with his underage fans, where he essentially groomed and straight up told them that he didn't value them as people. And that video was met with a mostly positive reception. Like, even now, 2 weeks after that video came out, it still stands with 19,000 likes and only 17,000 dislikes. More people agreed with this man saying, whoops, sorry I talked to that high school age girl for years on end and cheated on my girlfriend with these fans who looked up to me to the point where they would have done anything to get my attention. LOL, I only did it because I was going through such a hard time, despite this being something I did for years on end, and even something I continued to do after someone reached out to me for closure after the fact. Most people who saw that video were like, sure, that seems acceptable. I think, for me at least, what really sends this home and seals the deal, in a sense, with how terrible the response to the situation has been is this comment. Let me read it to you. Cry, I know you would not do this out of a disgusting want for something like that. I have been here since around 50K and started with Hunting Ground. I will not believe you did this with foul intentions. If you are sorry, actually, no, I know you are sorry. You can both forgive yourself and be forgiven. We, the true fans, who know you well enough to both believe your apology and know how good you are, will wait for you to be the best you, Cry, and I will be checking in and waiting for the grand day you come back to us for good. Until then, love you, man. You are still my favorite YouTuber and always will be. Hope you get over all this stuff, man. You don't deserve any of this. Now again, that was a response someone literally had typed out, wrote out, agreed with, to a person admitting to, and saying that full out, they abused their platform and cheated on their girlfriends with minors on the internet. Like, he admitted to doing that in the video that this comment was left on. And this guy's really out here accepting apologies on people's behalves. And I just don't know anything anymore. I just don't know. Hey guys, it's Shannon, and today we are very obviously going to be talking about the Cryaotic situation. Cryaotic is a YouTuber who straight out, full on admitted to abusing his YouTube platform for the express purpose of talking to his fans in a less than professional manner. And yes, a good chunk of those fans were underage when he started talking to them and manipulating them, which has a certain word. It's called grooming. It's gross. Not okay. The receipts are out. We know what it is. Now, the first initial tweet that came out that exposed Cryaotic came out weeks ago, and since then I have been asked to make a video about this pretty much every day. However, things kept happening with this story and this situation, and I wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a row before I commented on it. Like, I was about to make the video and then something more came out, and I just wanted to make sure I covered it. So that is why I'm going to be covering everything that has occurred with this situation right now for you today. For those of you who don't know, this is Cryaotic, a gaming YouTuber who does gaming. Honestly, before this, I had never heard of him, and seeing as he still has 2 million plus subscribers, he obviously has been successful in his career that I know nothing about. What I do know though, based on his comments and the general response, is that his fan base skews exceptionally young, which becomes a huge issue because we are talking about a man who has no problem hopping into the DMs of young girls in high school and telling them that he loves them. That's kind of an issue there. On June 17th, a Twitter user by the name of Beanie came forward with her statement, tweeting this: "This is really hard for me to share. I am not directly tagging them, it's not my style. But I post this knowing a good handful of you will know. I've been afraid of this making it back to them, but I'm choosing not to live with that fear anymore. You have no more power over me anymore." She then went on to post the following messages. 2011. I was 16 when I became a fan. Soon after, a friend. You were 22. I admire admired and cared about the person you were, not the persona you put up. I developed feelings for you, and you knew. Now pause this right here. This alone, this right here, is creepy. If you are talking to someone that is underage and they make it clear to you that they like you in that way, in a romantic way, and you don't cease contact or tell them no point blank, that is gross. Can you talk to them as a fan? Sure. Can you be friendly? Also sure. But if they start making romantic advances at you and you purposely don't discourage it, and in fact encourage it to keep them around, that is weird. That is not okay. You shouldn't be doing that. She continues by saying, you never discouraged them, and by that she means her feelings, just amusingly kept me at arm's length for when you felt lonely. On my 18th birthday, things took a turn and I was too blinded by rose-colored glasses to see what had actually happened to me. On graduation day, you told me that you couldn't return my feelings as you were too busy messing around with your best friend's girl. Said I was a good backup option though. Now, the emotional weight and hurt from the statement alone is absolutely insane. I can't imagine any adult saying this and not realizing what they're doing. And the fact that Cry literally used his massive platform to do this to a fan, that's disgusting. There's no excuse for that. I don't really care how sad or messed up you are at the time. Telling someone that cares about you that they are a good second choice and treating them like they are disposable, that's gross as hell. You don't do that to a person. That undervalues them and that will stick with them for a very long time. And also to do it to someone who is underage or was underage when you contacted them, you know they're a fan, you've been talking to them for years, to do that to someone who you are telling things like you love them and you cherish them and they could never be your first choice though, that is above and beyond gross. You don't trip and fall and accidentally do that. You don't like whoopsie doodle accidentally emotionally abuse someone that way, which is what he said happened here. Like, just to spoil that for you, he did say it was all an accident and he was just too depressed and his mental health was bad, and whoops, he undervalued a whole person who cared about him. You don't accidentally groom someone and then tell them that their worth is determined by you. That's not an accident. She goes on to say this: you still kept me around for those 2 a.m. calls when you felt like you had no one else. I started my first year of college when you told me there was someone else. Found out later they weren't of age either. But again, rose-colored glasses. I thought I was special because you kept me around when you were lonely. I made terrible decisions with you, one that hurt people I cared for, and I have to live with that. I was 20 when I told you I couldn't do that anymore and that I was hurting. I will always remember the response I got back, in which you told me the only use I ever had to you was a quote, piece of ass, unquote. I told your girlfriend at the time everything. I woke up the next morning and you were gone, as was the community and fandom I felt comfortable and safe in for years. I was 24 when we connected again. I was looking for something. An apology, closure, I don't know. Something to fill the years of being used as a personal therapist and a toy. It didn't take long for you to start up old habits. I just wanted an innocent friendship with you. I've since learned that many other young, impressionable girls had similar stories. I didn't want a public Twitter apology. I wanted changed behaviors. I am 25 now, and what I want most of all is freedom. I'll never get the pieces of me that you took back, but I can never replace them with something better if I am holding on to the hurt you gave me. For anyone reading, thank you for letting me share this. She posted that, and then a couple days later, the video I talked about was put up by Cry, in which he glosses over the fact that he did in fact have multiple relationships with girls who were underage. I mean, he states it outright, says that Beanie's account of the situation is accurate, co-signs it fully, and just plays it off as saying, well, we weren't ever physical and it was just online, but I'm sorry, that was bad. Whoops. And like I said earlier, according to the dislike ratio, over 19,000 people said, yep, that's good enough for me. They said, sure. You grooming a child and treating them as a love prospect while you are systematically destroying their self-worth, that is fine, because it just happened online, and as we all know, nothing that happens online is real anyway. You can't be arrested for talking to minors online. Absolutely not. Now at this point, after the video was made and was received favorably, Cry attempted to turn around and continue on his merry way. The man who just went online and said, yes, I had relationships with underage girls, but let's focus on instead how I was a bad boyfriend because I was cheating on someone IRL with girls who were underage. That very same night, he tweeted out that he was going to be doing a live stream. A literal live stream in which his fans send money to him right after he admitted to doing that. Yeah, that's what his next big move was. He's a galaxy brain, guys. Now, directly after he tweeted that, he was met with people saying, hey, you know what, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe since you just admitted to being, quote, not genuine or enjoying your platform and grooming underage girls, and a whole lot more today, maybe going on live stream isn't quite the move, dude. After people responded with that, he decided to cancel the whole stream. And as more criticism of his actions was rightfully leveled at him, and he was called out for focusing more on the fact that he was, quote, a bad boyfriend to his ex, and that he's not genuine anymore, rather than the fact that he full on stated, yes, I talked inappropriately with minors, he opted to put out a statement where he once again blamed his mental health. No, I am not kidding. He used that "I was in a dark place before" excuse before as the reason why he had talked to underage fans inappropriately when he was with a girlfriend, and stated that he had taken the time to improve himself and is now all better. But then, the very same day, after being called out for trying to do a live stream, said, "Just kidding. I was totally not okay when I recorded that video. I'm not okay now. I'm in a manic state. My bad. Whoops." You can't say "I'm all better now" and then turn around and say "I'm not all better. Oops, I'm just let me have an excuse, guys." It doesn't work like that, Cry. Enter Cheyenne, Cry's ex-girlfriend, who tweeted this back in January. "I found out a month before we were supposed to meet that my ex had been cheating on me for all 8 months, and one of them was a 16-year-old he had Skype sex with on his birthday." She also posted a screenshot of a conversation she had with Cry when she was 16 and he was 23, where he told her he loved her. Again, this is an adult man to a girl who was probably maybe at most a junior in high school. Like, this person is barely old enough to have a driver's license and can't legally make decisions for themselves because they are, again, 16. Meanwhile, a 23-year-old on the internet with millions of fans is telling her he loves her. Sure, okay, that seems healthy and fine. But I know you're asking, is that everything that happened? Is that everyone who came forward with this situation? No. Oh gosh, no. What am I, an elephant's fart? Of course not. Because another Twitter user by the name Ari came forward and detailed her experience with Cry as well, and how she had also had an affair with him. Once again, it was another situation of Cry becoming close to this person before they were of age, and then immediately jumping into sexual correspondence the moment she turned 18. You know, like someone who grooms people does. More and more things kept coming out, like these screenshots in which Cry is literally acknowledging the age of the girls he's talking to, and continuing to talk to them inappropriately. Like, let me read this to you. "You know, if you were older and I wasn't taken, we'd have made plenty of mistakes by now. I may have a girlfriend, yes, but a certain little girl is just too goddamn tempting sometimes, isn't she? I'm sorry, but no." Again, these came out and this guy still got a positive reception on his video admitting to doing this, where he said he never knew these girls' ages and his biggest sin was that he cheated. But here he is saying, oh, only if you were older, and calling these minors little girls. This is a man who was well aware of what he was doing and was more than okay with it. Thought that they were doing nothing wrong, thought that this was fine, thought that this was peachy. I mean, obviously, this is the third person to come forward showing what he's done. It's a pattern. He's been doing it for a while. And more things did happen with this, with more people coming forward and showing screenshots of Cry's behavior just 2 days from before the video was released, showing him still acting the same way he had said he had just outgrown. And more people came forward anonymously. And frankly, all of it is super gross. And all of it paints a picture of a guy who really doesn't deserve to have power over anyone, because he obviously misuses it and gets off on misusing it. If anything, this story has just made me more aware that there are 19,000 entire ass people, or at least some unknown number of people who have 19,000 YouTube accounts, who really think that what he did in this situation with minors is okay. And frankly, I can't. I cannot. I think that's gross. I don't want to. The fact that there are 19,000 people who are willing to overlook this bums me out. And I don't know. It just bums me out. I feel like the internet should be able to agree that doing this and saying things like, oh, if only you were older, we'd have made so many mistakes. Like, we can all agree that's bad. Like, don't. And yet we can't. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this situation. Let me know how you feel about the entire fallout, if you were a fan before and whether you are after. Again, I didn't know him beforehand, so me saying this isn't really hard. I do understand that some fans are having a hard time, but still, it's just, ugh. Let me know what you think. And with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video. Later.